Hey everybody, welcome to Invisible Condition. It's not all in your head. I'm your host, Jeff Pearson, and wanted to let you know that we created this show for you because we know that sometimes with an invisible condition you can feel like you're all by yourself. But we want everybody with an invisible condition to know that you have a voice, you have a community, and you are not alone. And today I am alone. Actually, I'm going to be talking about. We have a guest. We have a guest that's near and dear to my heart, because it's our organization, it's our company, Hydro with Hope. We're going to be talking about Hydro with Hope today, and I'm so excited about that because we've had a lot of things going on with it, and it's been really cool. So what I'm going to do first is just a little bit of a backstory. So I was born with hydrocephalus. Something happened at 2 weeks old. So I was born. They do all the regular measurements. They come back to the, head measurement, height, weight, all that stuff. 2-week checkup, right? You come back. Everybody's thinking, okay, cool. We're just going to check the progress on this healthy baby and take him home, and everything's cool. We carry on with life. 2-week checkup, they measured the circumference of my head and said, well, it's a little bit big. Let's do a CAT scan. Did the CAT scan. They found that there was one of the ventricles that are the pockets in the brain that store the cerebral spinal fluid that your brain produces all the time before it drains it and goes down your spinal column and goes, reabsorbs into the rest of your body. So if those ventricles are blocked or not working properly, the fluid just stays in the skull, and it can compress the brain, expand the skull, because baby skulls are pliable when they're born, and eventually it could kill you. So at 2 weeks old, they did the CAT scan and said, yeah, you've got a ventricle that's not quite working right, and so they did brain surgery right there at 2 weeks old and put a shunt right here behind my right ear, and it's quite the process. I'll tell you what, it's quite the process to do neurosurgery, especially for a shunt, but it is very, very painfully common. It's actually the most common reason for brain surgery in children in the US. So which is just absolutely nuts. So anyway, want to ask everybody out there in the audience, has anyone else had a condition that they were born with, that they've had since, like this congenital, or they found out about right after they were born? Because that was my case. 2 weeks old, I was born with it. They found out at 2 weeks old. So it was pretty young. And I'm actually very thankful for that, because there was a brain bleed involved. Which is pretty common as well. And they were able to take care of that. And then they got that shunt in there, which drained the fluid, which made my head basically, it didn't look abnormally large because they caught it so early. And I'm so thankful for that team at 2 weeks old that took care of that early. I'm so happy that they did that, because I've seen so many cases and heard of so many cases of what happens when that's not the case. And I'm just so thankful to God and to all the surgeons, everybody involved. So thank you. I'll tell you what, though, After 2 weeks, my parents brought me home. There was a few other surgeries kind of here and there in the childhood, and then I think there was one at like 7 months. We had to do a revision, put a new shunt in. There was one at 4 years old. They had to put a longer cord, because there's the shunt, there's the part that goes in the brain, there's the pump, the shunt, and then there's um, the cord that kind of disperses the fluid and reabsorbs into your body. So I had to have a longer cord put in, because at 4 years old, you're small, and they got to put a cord in long enough so that when you grow, it grows with you. And so that was at 4, and then really I didn't have to mess with it until about 18, and then that was my next one, and then I didn't have to do another one till 36. And I tell you what, childhood was amazing, because um, despite having a shunt, despite having this device in my head that if it malfunctioned, I was going for brain surgery again, which sounds really serious, but my parents did a phenomenal job of saying, of really not making a big deal of it, because they didn't have to make a big deal of it, because it was operating normally, and for the first 36 years of my life it did. And so when I was a kid, I was crazy, man. You know, we I skateboarded, I snowboarded, we went on vacations. I tell you what, we my birthday is on St. Patrick's Day, and so my birthday always landed on spring break, and so I just thought we went on vacation for my birthday, because that's what we always did on spring break. We went to Hawaii, or we went to somewhere on vacation, and so I just thought that was a birthday thing for me. It's not. The whole family was there, and it was fun for everybody. But I was like, oh, this is cool. We go to Hawaii for my birthday. Um, so, but we went. So we did that, and um, man, I got to hang out. We would go there for a week or two, and hang out. I have one of my mom's sisters is over there, so she knew all the ins of with all the places that are good, and all the beaches to go to, and when not to go, and all that. So it was so cool. And so we did that a lot when I was a kid, and I got to go on field trips and do all the. I'm not trying to brag here. I'm not trying to say, look at me. What I'm doing here is painting you a picture of how amazing of a job that my parents did, and how normal of a childhood I had, when it really could have gone a different way. I could have had a childhood of, no, no, you have a thing in your head that could kill you, so we're going to shelter you, and you won't be able to do anything. You know, we're going to stay home all the time, and you're not going to be able to go out. You're not going to be able to, can't play, can't snowboard, for crying out loud. Are you crazy? But no, they were so good at saying, how about we do this? Like, I never really had a huge interest in football anyway, but they never said, no, you can't play football. They would say, hey, how about band? What do you want to, what instrument sounds interesting? You want to play the saxophone? You want to play the clarinet? You want to play what do you think? They would do that. They would like incent not incentivize, but they'd like point me in the direction of something that made more sense, instead of telling me no on something that didn't make sense. Don't get me wrong, I heard the word no plenty, but it was more about stuff I wasn't supposed to be doing. So, but in the sense of what you could do in life, they really just kind of left it open, and didn't really restrict me too much. And when they did restrict me, they did it right, and it was amazing. And I'm so thankful to you. Thank you, Mom and Dad. You did a phenomenal job doing that. It was an amazing childhood growing up, and I never even knew anything was wrong. I got to hang out. I got to hang out with my grandpa, my mom's dad, Grandpa Don. Um, is was kind of like a second dad to me. I spent so much time with him growing up. He was another one that I got to go. We got to go. We went to Minnesota together. We went to Hawaii together. He went on some of these trips with our family. Him and, I mean, Grandma and Grandpa. But I don't know. There was just something about Grandpa. Me and Grandpa, was just awesome. And he passed away about 5 years ago. Which was really hard. But man, I have so many amazing memories because for 40 years, I got to hang out with my grandpa. And so I got to hang out. He was a sign painter, so I got to hang out in his sign shop. He had a shop. He converted his garage into his shop, and so I got to. And they only lived a few minutes away, and where in the town we grew up in, so I got to go over there all the time and hang out with him in his shop and learn how to paint and learn how to do all this artsy stuff. And that's part of the reason I love to draw and design logos and do all that kind of stuff now, is because Grandpa was so good at including me in all that. He was amazing. And so, um, when I went golfing with him, every Friday night I'd go over and spend the night at his house, and we'd watch movies and eat red licorice and drink Pepsi and do all the stuff that, all the stuff that your parents that your parents don't always let you do. You know, I'd go over there and he'd be like, "All right, get in the truck." He had this awesome old brown Toyota pickup truck with a topper on it. We'd jump in that truck and go to King Supers or whatever supermarket and go get that big long rope red licorice, the big long like red vines. I don't know what they're called, but it was in this big long rope, and we'd go get that and some Pepsi and go home and watch movies. It was fantastic. So and then we went on trips with family. Went to, my dad and I went on some special trips, hunting trips, fishing trips, graduation things. We would do. We'll get to some of those. We'll get to some more of those later. I don't want to just tell stories for 20 minutes. But I had a totally normal childhood is the point. And and part of the reason is because my parents and grandparents made it awesome. And so in junior high, this is part of the story, and I think I've said this on other shows, but I'm going to say it again. In band class, which was one of the things that my parents were like, "Hey, maybe not football or basketball. Maybe we do band. You want to play the clarinet or the saxophone?" And so I said, "Well, saxophone," and they said, "No, we have enough saxophones. How about clarinet? You can move up to the saxophone," which I never did. But anyway, so band class. I tell you what, we did band, and that's where I met my wife, actually, in 7th grade band class, which is fun. So, you know what? I just had a comment. It said, "Show me a picture of your grandpa." I'm going to do that because I love my grandpa and I have pictures of him, and I'm going to do that right now. I think that's a fantastic idea. Check it out. That was back in high school. That was a Christmas time picture that we had. I think he actually gave me that shirt because he's smiling in the picture, but I don't think he liked it. So he gave it to me and I wore it for years. I love that shirt. And then let's see what else we got. I got a couple more. Let me see if I can find another one that's really cool. Cause I tell you what, I brag about my grandpa all the time. I absolutely love bragging about him. We spent so much time together, and there he is. I love it. And then there's one more that I want to show you that will transition into the next thing I was gonna talk about, and that's band class. And you'll understand why I'm talking about band class and showing you a picture of my grandpa. So there we are. I think that was, I'm trying to remember where that was. I don't even remember where that was. Doesn't matter. Everybody's smiling. We're having a good time. That's my wife in the middle there. That's Catherine. And sorry, it's been 5 years and I still, I love it. I love you, Grandpa. This is so cool. I love seeing pictures of him smiling. Okay. All right. So band class, normal childhood. I'm in junior high, made it through elementary, survived that, right? Get to 7th grade, decide to play the clarinet, go in the classroom. I don't know if anybody's been in band before, but it's kind of curves around the band room, kind of, the band is in this big kind of half circle. And so the clarinets are on one side and the flutes are on the other. And I'm looking across and I'm like, man, she's cute. Well, my wife was playing flute in the band in 7th grade, and she was sitting directly across from me. And man, I thought she was just the cutest thing I'd ever seen. So I said, man, I gotta meet her. But I didn't have the courage to get up to go meet her until much later. But that was band class. And I'm so glad that my parents steered me towards that, because my wife and I ended up meeting in seventh grade band, and toward the end of the year, when I finally got the courage up, and um, went through junior high and high school together. Went to the same junior high, went to the same high school. Kind of went out, dated, I guess, as much as you can call it that in junior high and high school, and dated, didn't date, dated, didn't date, and then graduated high school, and ended up getting married. We got married at 22. After we graduated high school, she went to college. I went to travel with a group called Up With People, and then when we came back, we got married, and that was 24 years ago. So it's been pretty awesome. So tell you what, though, it's been all the point of all of this is that it's been so, up until that point, it was so amazing, and it was so just normal. I had nothing. I really had nothing to worry about. I really didn't have any pain. I didn't have any problems with health or anything, really. I mean, you get a cold every once in a while, I get the flu. I think I got chicken pox, whatever, but really nothing serious, and I even had the opportunity to travel after high school with a group called Up With People. For a whole year, I was on the road singing in all these different states and different countries on stages all over the world. It was amazing. Early 20s, 22, Catherine and I got married. We started having children. About 4 years later, we had our oldest, Elizabeth, and then a couple years later came Nick, and then a couple years later came Kasha. And Kasha was a home birth on purpose, and I actually got to catch, because the midwife didn't make it to the birth in time. So it's just so many amazing things that we've been able to do. I don't know anybody else. Is any other dads in that exclusive club that got to catch their own baby up in our bedroom, and it's like, okay, here she comes. And I'm like, okay, well, the midwife's not here. So the birth assistant was like, well, she's coming or not. So coming whether you like it or not. So get ready to catch. So here we go. And sure enough, man, I'm the reason Kasha didn't hit the floor. So I'm kidding. There was a lot of help there with other people that knew much more about it than I did. But it was such an amazing experience. And so we call her our organic baby because she was born at home. But anyway, I tell you what, all that to say, it's kind of a leading up to what I want to talk about in the next segment, which is Hydro with Hope. Really, the birth of what became Hydro with Hope. It came out of a follow-up visit to my neurosurgeon, sitting in the office waiting for him to come in and talk, and it happened right there. It popped into my, I'll tell the story and after we come back from the break. So stick around. You're going to want to hear this story. It's pretty cool. And it's where Hydro with Hope came from. So I am very excited to talk to you about it and show you some of the things we've been doing. So stay tuned, stick around, and we'll see you in just a couple minutes.
Hey, how you doing? My name is Greg Russell. I'm the host of TechnologyTuesday.com. You can find us on the Conscious Business TV network every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the latest resources to help you make more money in your business. Join us on E360 TV. Come on.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. I'm so excited to talk about this next segment because it was it was rough, but it paved the way for what became Hydro with Hope. And so I'm very excited to tell you about this. And there's, you know, it's funny because when you go through something really crazy and really painful and really hard, you know, something, it's like that's what all great movies are made of, right? It's oh, normal, everything hits the fan, and then triumph on the other side, right? So we've covered the everything's normal, cool childhood, awesome parents. Actually, you know what? You know what? Speaking of parents, speaking of family, let me throw this on the screen here. I was talking about my parents. Here's a picture of my dad and I one Christmas recently. I met recently, it's probably 7 or 8 years ago, but anyway, and you'll hear from him in a second, and I'll explain why he's not going to be on the show, but I'll tell you why in a second. But so there's my dad. And also there was one other thing I wanted to throw out there because it was pretty awesome. Here's wedding day in the limo hanging out. That's my wife. That's Catherine. She's amazing. Hi, Catherine. Love you. There's Catherine in the limo. We're in the limo hanging out, driving away from the church. We just got married. We don't know what we're doing. It's like, what just happened? Just like everybody else gets married, right? And then the cool part is right here. I love this picture too. Check this out. This is a side. Oops, nope, that's not going to work. Nope, it's a side by side, but we're not going to do that. It didn't fit. Sorry about that. Never mind. I put that in there thinking it would work. Oh, here's the other one. There's current. There we are. That was a couple months ago. So we are so enormously blessed and so thankful for everything that we've experienced over the last 24 years of being married and over 30 years of being friends, you know, and I'm so thankful for Catherine. And it's just been awesome. It's just been such an amazing journey. But speaking of journey, all that normal stuff, all that normal life, all that fun and you know, nothing's wrong and all that stuff, we got a little bit of a wake-up call in 2013 when I had an emergency surgery that landed in our lap here. And then I had another one 6 months later in 2014, and then that was a couple revisions, and then 2018 and 2021, and then I had an emergency surgery in 2022, and it's just been crazy. Some of them were neurosurgeries, brain surgeries to replace the shunt, and some of them were related. The rest of them were related to hydrocephalus and the shunt, because honestly, everything's related when you have hydrocephalus. So speaking of one of those surgeries in 2018, which incidentally was my only surgery that was not an emergency in my whole life. That was the only one that we got to actually plan, which was kind of cool. So that surgery goes well. We're in the waiting room. I don't know, a month or two later for another follow-up appointment with the neurosurgeon, waiting in the little there's the big waiting room, and then there's the little room that he brings you into that he's going to meet you in, but you still have to wait in that one too, right? That's the little waiting room. And so we're waiting in the little room, and Catherine and I are there, and we're just kind of hanging out, and all of a sudden we hear kind of what sounds like the rumblings of a conversation in the next room. Walls in those offices are a little thin, and as I couldn't make out the words, but I could definitely hear the tone, and the tone was not great. It felt like a tone of panic and uncertainty of, oh my gosh, what are you telling us, doc? And I kind of had this mental picture of parents sitting in with their little baby and having somebody tell them that their baby is going to have brain surgery, and maybe for the first time, right? And then that threw me way back to 1977 at Children's Hospital in Denver, when my parents were at that follow-up appointment at 2 weeks old with me. And the neurosurgeon came in and said, after that CAT scan, and said, we're going to have to do brain surgery. And I can't imagine being in the room and hearing that about my own child. We've had Nick had emergency surgery at about a month old for something, but it wasn't quite as severe as hydrocephalus. And he's fine now. It was just a one and done kind of thing. But when you don't know what it is and it's emergency surgery, it's terrifying. So I get a little glimpse of that, but yeah. So this family in the next room is talking, and right then, all I wanted to do was pick myself up, go next door to that room, give them a hug, tell them it was going to be okay, and answer all their questions, and say, I'm right here. Here I am. I'm living with hydrocephalus. Your child it's probably going to be okay. I mean, look at me. I'm 40 something years old, at the time. And so that's what I wanted to do. But of course I didn't, because it's frowned upon to burst into an office in a doctor's office. If you don't know the person, that could be terrible. So I didn't, of course, but that was the birthplace. That was kind of the beginnings of kind of, what are we going to do with this? Because I've always thought, for years up to that point, I was thinking, what are we going to do? I feel like I'm here for a bigger purpose. I've come through this hydrocephalus thing super well. I mean, what am I going to do with this, that God has given me this life that's amazing? I gotta figure out a way there's got to be a bigger picture out there than just working a job and going back and forth and mundane stuff, and jobs are important, don't get me wrong, but I felt a higher calling, and this was the beginning of that higher calling. And that's we started thinking, well, how could we help people with hydrocephalus? How could we do that? And we're like, well, okay, let's think traditionally. Let's think, could we have a building in Colorado Springs where we live? Well, okay, sure, but that's expensive. That's really expensive. Rent could be expensive. All the stuff that goes along with having a brick and mortar company business is that's the overhead, and the upfront cost could be astronomical. So we said, well, let's pause on that one. And we thought, what, social media? That's a no-brainer. So we said, okay, we're going to do this online. So we created a website. We created it. This was several years in the making. So this was in about April of 2022, we created Hydro with Hope, and hope was a big part of it. And hydro, of course, hydrocephalus, hydro with hope. And so we said, well, that's the aim. That's the number one goal, is to bring hope, because without hope, you're dead in the water already, especially with an invisible condition like hydrocephalus, or any invisible condition, really. Which is why, if you watch any of my other shows, in the last segment, I asked people specifically, how do you find hope? Because hope is important. So anyway, so we're thinking through this, thinking, okay, what are we going to do? And so we came up with Hydro with Hope to offer tangible resources for people in the hydrocephalus community, and not just awareness. Awareness is huge. Awareness is great because a lot of people need to know that they're not alone, and awareness is the best way to do that. Is shout it from the mountaintops. I am here. I am here to help you. Come talk to me. And so awareness that you're here is great, but then once people get there, then what? So we want to start developing resources for people with hydrocephalus specifically. And so, I mean, I've got 46 years of experience with this, so I thought, let's share it. I'm in a unique position to be able to share this with other people with hydrocephalus and help them if they need help, and point them in the directions of resources, or point them in the direction of us to be that resource. And one of the resources that we did was the Facebook group. We have a Facebook group called Hydro with Hope. We have a Facebook page called Hydro with Hope. We have a YouTube channel, Hydro with Hope. We have a, what else? Instagram page, TikTok. I'm not really on TikTok much. I don't get it, but that's okay. I'm 46. I'm not 20, so I don't get TikTok, I think. And the other thing that's hanging out back here, speaking of I digress here for a second. This was actually my grandpa's. It was holding a picture of my grandpa and I like that in his bedroom for decades before he passed away. So my grandma gave that to me with the picture a while ago. So I use it all the time. I love that thing. Anyway, here's the book. This is the book, that the tangible resource that we always wanted to have something to give people that would help them. And this is what we developed. My Hydrowarrior Story. There's nothing else out there like this. This is it. This is the one thing. I mean, there are a lot of books out there that people tell their story. I have hydrocephalus, and this is how it affected me, and this is my story, and this is how I triumphed in spite of it. Amazing inspirational stories out there. There's a lot of those out there, and those are amazing, and you should definitely check those out too. This is a resource. This is a resource for people with hydrocephalus. You can go to hydrowithhope.com and purchase this, and it will come with you. It can come with you to all your doctor appointments. It can come with you to, and you fill it out. It's fill in the blank journal. And it starts here. Where does it start? Here, starts right here. My name is, right there. You put a picture of yourself right there, helping me with my story, because not everybody does it themselves. Sometimes you get this when your first surgery is when you're 3. You can't fill this out when you're 3 by yourself. So helping me with my story is this person. I was first diagnosed, at this time. All this different stuff. My first surgery was on. And then there's some statistics in here. I tell you what, I think back to when my parents found out about me, and I think, how valuable would this have been? How amazing would it have been for them to have something that could be a chronicle of their experience? I was in the hospital for, how long? And the idea is this is for one surgery. This is for, and there's a little spot on the spine here that you can chronicle, number 1, number 2, number 20, number 100, number whatever, however many you've had. You say, okay, here's for that surgery. And then later you can look back and see how far you've come, and your children and other people in your family. I can't imagine what life could have been different like for my parents, for their own sanity, to be able to have a book like this. I can't tell you how important this can be. And then in the back, there's actually kind of a medical record that you can put back here. And then this comes with you to all your appointments and your follow-ups, because you're going to write all this stuff down in here. We have, on average, these shunts only last 2 to 3 years. And so Hydro Warriors have a lot of surgery, right? We do this a lot. And so the more you do it, the more surgery you have, the more impact it has on your brain. And so it's even more important to write stuff down. And that's why I'm so excited about this, to be able to give people a place to do that. And then you know, oh, one of my favorite pages in here. I got to do this. I got to show you this. This is, where is it? Well, I don't need to find the page. It's in there. Trust me. There's one in there with one of these picture frames, one of these picture frame pages like this on one side, you know, and you could put a picture in there. You could draw a picture. I mean, if it's a little kid, they could draw a picture in there. But crazy hair days. We have a lot of crazy hair days as Hydro Warriors. Check this out. You're going to love this. I think this might be in the opening of the show, but oh man, I think that was actually the last one. That might have been the most recent one in 2021, but I don't remember, honestly. Right? How about that for a hairdo, man? That looks like flock of seagulls almost, right? So anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there. So anyway, that's the kind of stuff that's in here. You can put pictures, you chronicle stuff. Some of the people that visited me in the hospital, there's a place for a picture. You can list all the people, you know, sometimes you're in there for shorter, sometimes you're in there for longer. Sometimes you know, if you're in your own town, sometimes you have visitors. It's amazing. I remember having a birthday. There's a page in here about that too. I spent such and such birthday. Where is it? Nope, that's not it. Anyway, it's in there. I spent, you know, this birthday in the hospital. This is who joined me for my birthday party, and there's a spot for a picture there. I mean, all this stuff that it's kind of like, you know, like when you have a baby book for your baby, you want to put everything in there because you want to look back in 20 years and go, oh, how cute, you know. That's the same thing with this, except not cute. It's important because it shows you how far you've come and how much you've done in your life despite hydrocephalus, how much you've succeeded and triumphed. This is where you write it down. This is where you keep track of it. And so actually, I'm going to keep that down here because I'm going to read something out of it in the last segment here. But I'll tell you what, it's amazing. I can't wait for you all to get one. Hydrowithhope.com is where you can go to get that. And it's insane. It's going to change your life. It's going to change your life. And so as soon as we come back from the break, I'm going to actually read you the introduction in here because my parents actually wrote the introduction for this book. And I would not be doing anybody a service without reading that because it's incredible. My parents are so amazing to do that for us, and they wrote that for us for the book. So that's coming up. So stick around so you can hear that because it's really cool. Or just get the book and then you can have it. But hydrowithhope.com, you can get that. But anyway, I will see you in just a couple minutes, and then we'll talk about that when we come back. Thanks for being here. right, everybody. Thanks for joining me, and thank you for being here. I'm really excited to be able to tell you about this organization, Hydro with Hope, because we're on Facebook. We have a private group for just people with hydrocephalus, and then there's a page also, a public page where people can go and I post content there almost every day, video content. I really hope everybody that's on there has found it helpful. And it's been helpful for me to be able to share this stuff because it's telling your story is therapeutic, and helping people tell their story is why we're here with Invisible Condition, is to be able to be that conduit for people to tell their story and share, because it's therapeutic to do that, and because that will help them realize that they are in a community and that they're not alone. So and part of my community is my parents, because I wouldn't be here without them, of course. And so I want to read you the foreword from this journal, my Hydrowarrior Story. I mean, our story, a little bit of our story is here, and a little bit about Hydro with Hope is here. And then you've got a QR code that'll go to the website, and we've got hydrowithhope.com right there if you don't like QR codes. So I know not everybody likes QR codes, but I'm gonna, you know what? While I'm reading this, speaking of QR codes, I'm gonna pop this up here while I'm reading this. So this is the foreword that my parents wrote for my Hydrowarrior Story, and I love this. It's real short. It says, as parents of a child born with hydrocephalus, it is an honor that we would be asked to write the foreword for this amazing publication, and we continue this journey alongside you all. The term Hydro Warrior brings to mind the great Viking ships that sailed the seas of the world. These warriors would leave port with a mission to explore, discover, conquer. They would drop their oars into the water in unison and pull together, seeking victory in the face of many challenges. We hope that as you turn the pages of this journal, you will become the author of your own victory, and your story will inspire the many doctors, nurses, family, and friends that are affected when the diagnosis of hydrocephalus is presented. Whether your journey has just begun or you have faced the difficult days of recovery or revisions for many years, this will be your chance to record the emotions, the challenges, and the accomplishments during this season in life. Our greatest prayer is that during this adventure, you will be able to use your personal story as a treasure chest of memories and nuggets of wisdom that can be referred to, and that you will feel the powerful healing spirit of God working in your life. Scott and Joan Pearson. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for writing that. I'm so thankful that you did that. I kind of brings tears to my eyes. It's awesome. And so this journal, you click right on that QR code, or click. I'm in my 40s, man. Everything is a click. Scan that QR code and it'll go to our website, and then the book is available there. And also there's a link on our website to Invisible Condition as well, if you know anybody that would like to be a guest, because I'm always up for having guests that want to tell their story. That's what we do, is help people tell their stories. So, all right, I'm going to take this down, and I'll put the website up again before we're done. But I just wanted to put that up there for those of you that like QR codes. So, and one of the questions that I ask everybody on this show, because honestly, I mean, like I said at the beginning, without hope, you're dead in the water already. You've given up already without hope. So where do you find hope? That's what I ask everybody. And first and foremost, I find hope in Jesus. I'm a Christian. I'm a Jesus follower, and the Bible is very clear, and I love the hope that is in Jesus, and that this life is not the end, and that all things are made new. You know, in and on the other side of this life is heaven with Jesus forever, and everything, all the suffering ends, all everything. You get a new body and everything. I'm looking forward to that, by the way. And so that hope is huge. That hope is what gets you up in the morning, you know. And so that's where I find my hope. And there's other places as well. Like when I hear a really cool story about a hydro warrior that's doing cool things, or that triumphed over surgery and is, you know, started a business or working this or doing that. That's I find hope in that too, because that tells me that that the community is getting stronger and that we're not alone. And the more stories that we share about that, the smaller the bigger the community gets, and the more people we get to know. Um, and one other question that I ask of my guests is there anything about these challenges that you've had with whatever condition happens to be in front of me that day for that show? Today it's hydrocephalus. Is there anything that you're thankful for? And that would be a resounding yes, because without hydrocephalus, without 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 having the challenges, especially without having the challenges associated with hydrocephalus, Hydro with Hope would not be here. And this TV show would not be here without, if I hadn't had that first emergency surgery in 2013, and then the one in 2014, and then the one in 2018, and then that appointment that was, you know, follow-up appointment in 2018 after that surgery, that I heard that family in the next room. That's what popped into my head. And that all these surgeries humbled me and kind of knocked me down a couple rungs on the ladder, as far as what I could do, as far as physical activity, as far as, I mean, it slowed me down. But I'm so thankful for that, because it helped me realize that there's something bigger than me out there that needs to get out there. And that's Hydro with Hope. Hydro with Hope is bigger than me. It's all of us. It's everybody, and with hydrocephalus, and everybody can benefit. And I really hope that people that are on on the page, in the group, I I truly hope that you have found benefit, and that you are enjoying what you're seeing there, and that it's helping you, and that if you need more help, you know where to reach out. You can reach out to me personally. Go to the website and you can email me. You can join our email list. Um, you can send me a Facebook message. I would be more than happy to talk to anybody that's having trouble, that's finding out about this for the first time and panicking because of what the doctor's telling them. Um, so speaking of that, and this, there's a specific family that I'd love to talk to you about, but I don't want to give too much away, because they're going to be a guest uh, down the road here. I'm not 100% sure when they're going to be a guest. It's probably going to be in about a month or two, but you are going to love this family. Um, Mom's name is Goretti, and the little boy's name is David, and it's an amazing story. I met them on Facebook Messenger, and and I was the stuff that we've been able to do together, and the relationship that we have created between our family and theirs has been so meaningful. It's been so amazing. In fact, they were just they don't live in the U.S., but they were in the U.S. for some appointments for David, after he was a few months old, and it was incredible, because for the first time I got to have a video call and I got to see this little guy, and he was just going all over the place. He was the cutest little boy. And so this family story is going to blow your mind. It's so cool, and the power of God is just everywhere in this story. And you definitely want to keep an eye out for that. So I push it out on Facebook every time we do a show. So keep an eye out for that. The future of the last thing I want to talk about is the future of Hydro with Hope, because we're not going anywhere. We're here for the long haul to serve you. Some of the other things that I've been doing that I'm endeavoring to do more is speaking at events, speaking in front of groups of different varieties. I would love to speak at more events. I would love to speak in front of more people to get the word out and the hope, get the hope out. Coaching. I have a vision of doing coaching, group coaching, individual coaching, for new parents that are just finding out about hydrocephalus and are scared out of their mind, like my parents probably were when they were in their 20s and finding out that their kid had to have brain surgery. So that's a real thing, and I am really excited to be able to offer that, because I think online coaching and online, Zoom conferencing and stuff, I think it's how things are done now. And so I'm excited about that. We're talking about doing different versions of the journal, like a sibling of somebody with hydrocephalus, or the parents of somebody with hydrocephalus, or a caretaker version. Like if you're a doctor or a nurse in a neuro unit and you want to be able to, kind of download your thoughts and talk about, record some of these stories of patients that you've helped, so that you can look back later and say, man, that's been awesome. Right. Hydro with Hope is in the process of becoming a nonprofit. And so we're going to be able to offer a lot of these services for little to no cost to anybody because of the nonprofit status. And the most exciting thing is we're going to start scheduling for fundraising and for being able to help more people. We are going to start doing benefit concerts probably next year in 2024 to benefit all of you that need help through Hydro with Hope. So it's going to be incredible. I'll post more information about it. We're working with a couple good friends on that, and we're still in the infant stages of it, but stay tuned because it's going to be amazing. If you know somebody that is facing hydrocephalus, facing the diagnosis, facing brain surgery, hearing about it for the first time, hydrowithhope.com. Please reach out. Go to hydrowithhope.com, get on our email, go to the Facebook page, reach out to me versus through the Facebook Messenger. I would absolutely love to schedule a time or just talk to you on Messenger anytime that I'm available. I would be more than happy to do that. We could schedule a video call, whatever. I want to help. And so anyway, I think that's about all the time we have today. But I want to throw this last thing out there for anybody that knows. Everybody knows a bunch of people, right? If there's anybody that knows somebody that wants to partner with Hydro with Hope, let me know. Jeff at hydrowithhope.com, JEFF at hydrowithhope.com. That's where you would go to do that, and just send me, do like an email intro, and then I'll start talking to them, and we'll see what we can do together. So I think that's going to be amazing. And if there's anybody out there that wants to partner with Invisible Condition to get the word out about something you're doing, I would love to have the right sponsors and advertisers on here. I'd love to talk to you about what your story is and how we could get the word out together. So thank you for being here, everybody. And next show is Friday, August 18th. Jackie is going to be on my show, and she is going to be talking about CBD and THC, which is it's a bunch of acronyms, but it's medicinal marijuana, honestly. Basically CBD, everybody knows what CBD is, right? And THC. So tune in Friday, August 18th. 10 a.m. Mountain Time for our live show for that one. And it's a little bit controversial, but she is incredible, and she's gonna break it down for us. So I'm looking forward to that, and I'm looking forward to seeing you then. Till then, have an amazing day. We'll see you next time.